Today, we are going to narrate the intriguing life of Keturah, a lesser-known figure in the Bible. From her marriage to Abraham to the emergence of the Midianites, Keturah's narrative is a reminder that even in the quieter corners of history, there are stories waiting to be heard. Keturah's early life and origin are shrouded in mystery. Unlike other biblical figures, we don't have a detailed account of her background or a family lineage. It's as if she emerges from the shadows, becoming a part of the narrative at a pivotal moment in the life of Abraham. In the Bible, Keturah is mentioned as Abraham's wife after the death of his first wife, Sarah. The reference to Keturah and her sons is found in Genesis 25, verses 1 to 4. Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Zokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. The Bible does not provide explicit details about Abraham's reasons for marrying Keturah after the death of Sarah. However, it's important to note that the Bible often focuses on key events rather than providing extensive commentary on the motivations of the individuals involved. Here, Abraham is portrayed as a significant patriarch, and his descendants play a crucial role in the unfolding of God's plan. The primary purpose of mentioning Abraham's marriage to Keturah in Genesis 25 may be to provide a genealogical record of his descendants rather than to delve into the specific motivations behind his decision. The passage focuses on the sons born to Abraham and Keturah, who became the ancestors of different groups of people. Many commentators argue about whether Keturah is Hagar or another woman. However, the most straightforward reading of the biblical text, particularly Genesis 25, verses 1 to 4, makes a clear distinction between Keturah and Hagar. As mentioned before, Abraham took another wife named Keturah, and she bore him several sons. Hagar, on the other hand, is introduced earlier in the narrative as Sarah's maidservant and the mother of Ishmael. Indeed, the biblical text provides more detailed information about Sarah and Hagar, including their relationships with Abraham and their backgrounds. Sarah is explicitly identified as Abraham's wife, while Hagar is introduced as Sarah's Egyptian maidservant. On the other hand, Keturah's background and relationship with Abraham are not provided in as much detail. The lack of explicit information about Keturah in the biblical narrative has led to some ambiguity and different interpretations. Genesis 25 verses 6, which reads, "But while he was still living, he gave gifts to the sons of his concubines and sent them away from his son Isaac to the land of the east." This verse indicates that Abraham had concubines, plural and not just one. While the Bible specifically mentions Hagar and Keturah, it doesn't provide exhaustive details about all of Abraham's relationships. The interpretation of why Abraham married Keturah and had more children after Sarah's death can vary among scholars and religious traditions. Some see Abraham's marriage to Keturah as a way of fulfilling God's promise to make him the father of many nations. After Sarah's death, Abraham might have seen it as his duty to continue building a family. According to other interpretations, in the ancient Near East, having multiple wives and concubines was a cultural norm. Abraham's actions may have been influenced by the customs of his time. Another perspective is that Abraham's marriages to Keturah could have been strategic, forming alliances with different groups or tribes. The act of giving gifts to the sons of his concubines and sending them away during his lifetime may have been a way of ensuring Isaac's inheritance and avoiding conflicts among his heirs. However, Keturah, a woman whose name is often mentioned but whose story remains largely untold, becomes the mother of 6 sons: Zimran, Zokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Each name carries its own significance, and the birth of these children marks a new phase in the patriarchal lineage. Zimran, the firstborn son of Keturah, holds a name that echoes with strength and might. While the biblical narrative doesn't provide specific stories about Zimran, the very act of being the firstborn places him in a position of significance. In ancient cultures, the firstborn often carried responsibilities and expectations related to the family's future. Jokshan, the second son, has a name that suggests snarer or ensnarer. This intriguing name might allude to a skillful or strategic quality. In biblical times, names were often chosen with specific meanings, and Jokshan's name could imply a certain cleverness or agility that may have influenced his life path. Maiden, the third son, carries a name that signifies strife or contention. While the meaning may suggest challenges, it's essential to remember that biblical names often convey deeper spiritual or symbolic meanings. The circumstances surrounding Maiden's life would involve significant events or struggles that contributed to the family's journey. Midian, the fourth son, emerges as a key figure in Keturah's lineage. His name is not just a label but a legacy. Midian becomes the patriarch of the Midianite people, a nomadic tribe living in the wilderness. The Midianites play pivotal roles in biblical narratives, making Midian's name resonate throughout the history. Ishbak, the fifth son, has a name that suggests he will live or he will empty. The significance of this name remains speculative, as the biblical narrative provides limited details about Ishbak. Shua, the sixth and final son, carries a name that means wealth or abundance. This name introduces an element of prosperity and abundance into Keturah's family. Shua's life, though not extensively detailed in the biblical text, may hold connections to themes of prosperity and blessing. Now let's focus on one of Keturah's sons who stands out prominently in the biblical narrative: Midian. Midian becomes the patriarch of the Midianite people, a nomadic tribe living in the wilderness. The Midianites, as descendants of Keturah, play significant roles in various biblical narratives, contributing to the broader historical and cultural context of the Old Testament. Moses, after fleeing from Egypt, finds refuge among the Midianites. In Midian, Moses encounters Jethro, a priest of Midian and a descendant of Keturah. Jethro becomes Moses' father-in-law. The Midianites are prominently featured in the book of Judges, where they play a role in oppressing the Israelites. Gideon, one of the judges, leads the Israelites in a military campaign against the Midianites, resulting in their defeat. The influence of Midianite practices is a recurring theme in the Bible, highlighting the spiritual challenges faced by the Israelites. The nomadic and trading lifestyle of the Midianites, likely inherited from their ancestor Keturah, contributes to the cultural diversity of the biblical narrative. Thus, the interactions between the Midianites and the Israelites provide a rich backdrop for exploring themes of faithfulness, spiritual challenges, and the complexities of cultural encounters. Thus, Keturah's legacy extends beyond being a wife and mother. Her influence is felt through the descendants she bore, particularly in the nomadic lifestyle of the Midianites. From marrying Abraham to having 6 sons, including Midian, who led the Midianites, her family's tale is etched in the ancient stories of the Bible. So friends, that's all for today. Thank you all for joining us on this journey. If you like our video, please press the button of like and subscribe to our channel Palette of the Past. Until next time, stay curious and take care.